by now I'm sure you've heard of what's going on with Sony and Helldivers 2. If not, let's get you out from underneath that rock and caught up on the situation. So starting on May 30th, with a hard deadline of June 4th, Sony is requiring current Helldivers to connect their Steam accounts to a PlayStation Network account to continue playing the game. Now, if you haven't started playing Helldivers 2 yet, then you have an even shorter timeline, and this has to be done by May 6th, which at the time of recording is literally just 2 days away. So that's not very far off. This in itself isn't a big deal for most people. Yeah, it's annoying when big companies use their power to make you do something, but all in all, it's not that big of a deal. Unless, of course, you live in one of the 118 countries that do not have access to PlayStation Network. Then it's a massive deal. So at this point, you are probably asking, why is Sony doing this? Well, apparently for the safety and security provided on PlayStation and PlayStation Studio games, with Sony also saying it gives them the ability to ban abusive players and allow players to appeal bans. This is all good and well, except for the fact that PlayStation isn't available worldwide. So unless they go out of their way to do something sketchy, a ton of players will not be able to enjoy Helldivers anymore. Now, there may be a sliver of hope though for those players, because the developer of Helldivers 2, Arrowhead Game Studios, has come out and stated that they were reassured players in regions that don't have access to the PlayStation Network will not be held accountable and affected after the mandate that is set by Sony. So they may not lose access, which is good, but also things could change. Now, Arrowhead also made it clear that all of their developers had a very negative opinion whenever they were told about this change that Sony's making, and they understand all of the backlash that is coming to Helldivers and Sony and even them. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand Sony wanting to help take care of abusive players, but make it optional. Making it mandatory on a different system to be signed into your PlayStation account just to play a game really feels like a power move. Then it's not a good look for Sony. As you can see, I've got a PlayStation 5 back here myself, and I've been a Sony fan for as long as I can remember, and I really don't think this is a good look for them. I don't stand with them on this at all. Now, with that being said, the players of Helldivers are definitely making themselves heard by review bombing Helldivers 2. I don't necessarily agree with this idea though. Like, I agree with wanting to get yourself out there and be heard, and do something so that Sony may change this or come out and say that, hey, this is optional. This isn't something that we have to do now. But review bombing Helldivers on Steam is also hurting Arrowhead Game Studios. And seeing, like, as I was reading through all this, seeing how nice and how understanding and caring Arrowhead Game Studios has been towards their players, and how they share their negative opinions to Sony about this decision, really just makes me feel like they're getting hurt in this whole ordeal when they don't need to be. Hopefully Sony gets their heads out of their asses and decides that, hey, this can be optional. The safety and security can still be taken care of on Steam, and we don't have to do this. But let me know your opinions about this. That's all I've got, and I'll see you on the next one.